Hello everyone, I'm Pete Zoof and welcome back to another episode review for the anime series Yamada and the Seven Witches, also known as Yamada to 7 no Majo. This time it's going to be a review for episode 2, which I just watched a moment ago, so if you want to check out my live reaction, there's a link down below in the description box. I do have a couple notes that I had to take at the end of the episode just because I did throw out a couple names there, and I wanted to make sure I remembered them, because it was pretty important as to what's going to happen with the overall plot as far as what's going on now. So that only happened at the end, though. For the general part, they pretty much did focus on the main characters, and specifically on this new character, Ito, who appeared at the end of episode 1, wanting to join the Supernatural Studies Club, and then they picked right up off from that exact moment in episode 2. So that was nice to see. This girl, Ito, really wants to join the Supernatural Studies Club. I'm not sure if they came right out and said exactly why she was so adamant about it, but it's implied that she wants to be popular at school. She bought these different items which are supposed to be, supernatural, from everything from a spoon that could bend to a photograph of a UFO, all fakes, of course, and she bought them off these punks who demanded their money, and she didn't want to have to pay them. She brought these items to school. She wanted to join the Supernatural Studies Club. She threw herself into it, and dragged Yamada-kun along to ride with her. We see her cleaning up the whole room. The whole time, basically, Yamada has this exam coming up, the supplementary exam, where if he fails it, then he gets expelled from school. So he needs Shueishi's help. I probably just got her name wrong. Shueishi. It's a confusing one. But he can't switch bodies with her because Ito is running him ragged, and every time he gets a chance to be alone in the room with her, that's when she pops in. Well, eventually Miyamura intercepts in all this, and he explains to Ito that, you still haven't turned in your club member application, so you need to fill this out, and you need to go bring this to the student council and turn it in. So he's like, okay, that'll kill a minute, hurry up and, fucking kiss. Well, the student council room door was locked, and she came right back to the club room, and basically what ended up happening was, as she walked in, as the two were kissing, and she became infuriated because she knew that something was up. None of them were interested in supernatural studies. They didn't seem to really care about the club or anything like that. She couldn't really tell why they were there, but she was excited to be a part of it nonetheless, and this was like her big dream, I guess. She was thinking she could probably finally have some friends and get some validity, because she's a known liar, because she lies to get attention because she wants friends and she wants to be popular. So that all just sort of crashed around her when she saw Yamada and Shueishi kissing, and she swore she would get revenge on them, which she proceeded to do. The next day she threw flyers everywhere. She put a big sign up saying that the two were an item, that they were kissing, spread it through word of mouth. She did everything she could in her power to spread the rumor that they were an item and ruin their reputation. And this freaked Yamada out, of course, immediately started grabbing flyers going for her, and he found her in the club room, and he tried to, get an apology and just sort of get her to stop and take back what she said to everybody, and she refused to, even with his apology. So Yamada went and took desperate action. He pretty much forced her to kiss him, so that they would switch bodies so that he could go into her body and go tell everybody. Like when he switched with her, with Ito, Yamada, incapacitated her in Yamada's body, and then proceeded to lock the door behind him and go tell everybody. And what he finds out is that Ito is a liar through everybody, because nobody believed Ito. He's telling everybody, and it's pretty much, established that she's a well-known liar. So he really didn't need to do anything in the first place, but he would have never known that if he had never switched with her. If anything, him freaking out because she spread the rumors would just make him look even more suspicious and probably add validity to the rumors that she spread around, so it's probably a good thing that he did this in the first place. Well, then, he gets a hold of Shueishi and Miyamura and tells them what's happened and everything. Once Yamada's body with Ito in it has gone missing. So they go to the club room and they figure out that she escaped through the window, which would be easy, with Yamada's body. And they're trying to figure out where she went, because she's not in school. They can't find her. So they go through her person, on her person to see what she has on her, find her cell phone, and go through her emails. Pretty invasive, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So they figure out that the items that she bought, there was a bill for it, and somebody told her, to meet her at a specific place. or else, basically, extorting her for the money. So it's assumed that she went there to handle business herself to not pay it. So we flash to Yamada's body, with Ito and it knocked out. These three, guys definitely knocked Yamada. She went there masquerading as Yamada, saying she was, Ito's bodyguard and everything. And they took care of Ito and Yamada's body pretty easily. So then Yamada shows up in Ito's body, and then he handles them even after being grabbed and held and everything. And they end up switching back, and Ito, understands now why, why they had to have the club, why the big secret and everything, and why they're not really interested in supernatural studies. But at the end of it, Ito, she's really nice and she's really apologetic, and she goes to leave. But now that they know the full story with Ito, Yamada actually takes the first step to say, well, hey, don't leave, we can't let you leave knowing our secret, which I think is his way of just getting her to stay, because he probably feels bad for her and wants to, extend his friendship to her. And says, and you remember the Supernatural Studies Club now. And she actually cries, but then she wipes it and she puts on, a happy face, and she's really excited now all over again. So we enter this immediate, hilarious montage where she's testing out a theory about him kissing and being able to switch bodies. So what happens is one kisses one, and then Yamada's inside another's body. Then we figure out that Yamada, while inside someone else's body, can kiss another person and switch those two people into those two bodies. Well, before you know it, of course, everybody's in everybody else's bodies, and it's going to be a big fucking tangled mess to get everybody back in their own body. But it was pretty hilarious, everything that was going down. Even Ito was having like a friggin' fangirl moment over all the different pairings that ended up happening. So it was pretty hilarious. But then, that aside, we introduced Ito, and it was a very strong introduction. This whole episode, up until the very end of it, was about introducing Ito, her story, and connecting her to the existing characters. So I thought that it was fantastically well done, because you're able to establish these relationships, and it gives more insight into the other characters also and how they handled it. So it was chock full of comedy. There was definitely something very smart going on behind the scenes as far as how heartfelt it ended up becoming, and then the way that they ended it just definitely built up for what's going to happen next, because it seems like that's what they did with the first episode too, is they just ended it with something to set up for the next episode, and this episode 2 was no different. We flashed to the student council, who had the application form in their hand, of course, for the Supernatural Studies Club. And the student council president is this guy with green hair and glasses, and he's talking with, the various different people around him. There's a sort of quieter girl who seems to be more of an attendant or secretary to the student council president. She's got long purple hair. She talks very quietly and sweetly to him. And then we've got a girl with short purple hair who seems actually pretty brash and emotional, and her name is Nene Odagiri, but she was referred to as just Nene. So then we see that a companion of Nene's, who was waiting outside in the hallway, was this sort of taller guy with short gray hair, and he had sort of gray eyes and glasses, and his name was Ushio. So we'll have to keep our eye on Nene and Ushio, because Nene expresses that she is going to be the next student council president. And it is revealed in this episode that Miyamura, with the gray hair, is actually siblings with the current student council president. I didn't catch them throw out his name. I looked for it when I went back and just recapped the end of the episode. And I didn't see his name, which I thought that they did. So if they did, you can leave me a comment letting me know what the student council president's name. But it's implied that they're siblings. Now, because it's funny, because you would think that Miyamura and Ushio would end up being siblings because they both have the gray hair, but, So this guy, the student council president, is the current, student council president. Nene is vying for the next position, and then Miyamura apparently is a seed candidate for being the next student council president. So she is pissed, of course, that Miyamura has joined the Supernatural Studies Club because they can't rack their brain around why he would be doing it. Then they figure out that Yamada Ryu's in there, and they think that Miyamura is keeping an eye on him because he's a delinquent for the student council. So they think that maybe this is like a move to gain favor, to become the student council president. And then we know that Ito joined, and Ito is a known liar, obviously, and a misfit in the school. And now what's interesting about this is they end the episode with the student council president talking with, the long-haired, the long purple-haired girl, and he's saying, how will you deal with the next problem child who's unfit for Suzaku High School? So it seems like it's almost if maybe they've caught on that Ryu has joined. Maybe they made a move to make that happen in the first place. Maybe they know something we don't. Or maybe this just means that they're going to start making a move to send people who are, the odd ones in the school or the misfits or the delinquents, and send them their way to see how they deal with them. Maybe get them to join the Supernatural Studies Club and hopefully see if it falls apart under Miyamura's direction. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. And in the preview for the next episode, we definitely did see Ushio and Yamada, kicking in the door to the student council room. I'm almost wondering if something's going to happen, though, with Nene maybe switching bodies with Yamada, and that's why we see Yamada with Ushio, and maybe they're going to go tell the student council that that's what's going on. So this could be something that blows his secret out of the water. This could be just something hilarious that ends up happening, or it could be something really serious that moves the story forward, because they can literally be in any body at any time, thanks to the fact that he can switch even when he's in another person's body. You really can't guess what's going to happen in the next episode just by the preview of the footage that they show. You can probably gain some insight into it because if new characters are introduced who don't know about Yamada's power, then you can probably infer something about the next episode from the previews. But other than that, previously established characters, I'm not going to assume anything just because anything's possible, because you never know who's inside what body. So that definitely makes things interesting, because the previews could potentially trick you up. So I'm not counting my straws that anything that I think was going to happen with the existing characters is really happening. So I'm definitely really looking forward to episode 3, especially now that we've got the student council that they're going to show down with. It looks like there's a deeper plot here going on with Miyamura. So yeah, now we've got another person in the club who is actually probably going to make it into a club, so this gives them a little bit more credibility, and that's Ito, so who knows what could happen next. But anyway, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of episode 2 of Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 10 out of 10. I thought it was flawlessly done. I'm not referring to the source material all anymore. I really don't even remember what was going on, so this is all fresh for me. So I really loved it. I quite enjoyed it. So anyway, I'll see you guys in episode 3, alright? So until then, have a great day. Bye.